Hi, everybody. RivkaLeah here with another part of our Darkness to Radiance series. I am joined tonight with Marisa and Nesto. I will be introducing them shortly, but I kind of wanted to do a little bit of an update for everybody. And I don't know if I say this too often, what my why is for the collective, for the RivkaLeah Collective. I really am called to help trauma survivors move through their darkness and into their radiance and come out into potentially being an entrepreneur or whatever fills them up. So I have previously spoken with both Marisa and Nesto, and I have asked them to come back again. And again, they are part of the collective. So I would love everybody just to get to know them and see really what the collective is all about. So thank you guys both for being here. Welcome. How are you tonight?
Very good. Thank you for asking us to do this with you.
Absolutely. So I know in our last talks, we kind of talked about the trauma portion and how you've kind of come through that, and that you're both entrepreneurs, and you both indicated that you are partners in your business. So I think that is wonderful that you were able to do that. So can you kind of tell me what inspired you to embark on this entrepreneurial path other than the trauma, or was that the biggest portion that motivated you?
I actually would say that was the least part of it, as in both of us were already on our healing paths separately. And we became friends and accountability partners for our separate businesses. Mm-hmm. And it seemed just like inevitable that it was going to happen. We didn't even really talk about it at first. And our business partnership just felt like the absolute perfect thing for us to do. We didn't, well, I will tell you, our business conversation was more in depth than our dating conversation. So, and he knows I was going to bring that up, so don't worry.
I love that. You've said that to me. I always love that.
Yeah, he can tell you that part of it. But when we actually sat down and talked about starting our business together, it was a very practical conversation about why did we want to do it and what were we trying to accomplish, and everything from day one. We've always said our whys lined up of what we want to accomplish. And so that was really the basis of it, was the fact that I had started my healing path a couple of years previously after a divorce. And then yours really sparked with going to Insight.
It did.
And going to an event that we both separately had gone to. And so by the time that months had passed of us working together and helping each other, it just felt right. It just felt like the next step for us.
Right. Awesome. And I think that with combining her strengths and mine, it really was, as she said, it was inevitable, and it was the right choice, because a year later, I mean, we're doing great. We're continuing to build our business, and things are looking really good. So very happy about it. And in the end, I truly believe this is the right decision for both of us.
Well, I can say I really personally think it's the right decision, as we are all part of the collective. So it's working really well for all of us, I think. So what else drives and motivates you as an entrepreneur? Are there any values, passions, goals?
Well, I'll tell you, he says it to me every day. It's his famous mantra that if you can impact one person a day, then you've achieved your day. And so that has always been really the setup for what we try to accomplish, that we want to even reach one person. And about, last fall or so, I had somebody reach out to me. I hadn't spoke to in a long time. You know, post-COVID, there's people you just hadn't spoke to. Mm-hmm. And she said that something that I had posted really impacted her. And I know it was strange and it was small, but at the time it really made me stop and go, okay, this is working. This is good. This is what we should be doing, because we've never come out of a place of hard selling. We just really want to be a value of service to others and help other businesses grow. And so we've always taken that approach in all of our marketing and from the core, the base, the foundation of what we do. So it's so cool that was one of the things that really kind of set us on the right path.
Yes. And also not just helping potential clients, but also partners and people that work within our circle. We know that we can't do this alone, Marisa and I. And so what we've done was we've actually connected with several business partners to create this collective. And that really sets us apart, I think, from a lot of our competition, because we have, not only is it just Marisa and I, but it's several other individuals as well that have strengths and weaknesses that we all use and we all fill in the gaps for. And it's been wonderful. And it's really made all this worthwhile.
In fact, we don't even have one client. And this is something we haven't spoke about really publicly much. So this is the first time or first occasion that we literally have in 2 years now, no clients. And the reason why I say it that way is we're very proud of that because we have business partners. And it's not just a name value. It is the difference of how we interact and how we contractually obligate ourselves to potential would-be clients. It's not that. We take it a step further and it's a business partner to us. And so we're not just invested, we're emotionally invested in the family behind the company, and we're invested on the long-term path for that client to no longer be the client, but a partner that's going to be with us a very long time, if hopefully forever. And we're trying to set it up that they come into the collective as well, that it is definitely a different feel. And that's what we set out to do from day one.
Right. And, we have something that we have is called mentor to partnership.
Yeah.
And what it is it's what we've learned. It allows us to teach other newer entrepreneurs coming in with the ultimate result of them partnering with us in the end and working together. And us being able to grow and build and move forward as a group with people that we feel can really just really be a part of something that is more than just one person. It really does. It
sets the tone.
Yes, exactly. It sets the tone. And like what Marisa was saying, that we don't really have clients. We have
zero clients.
We're looking. I mean, because you can always find clients. We're looking to build our foundation as strong as possible, and then eventually we'll continue to branch out and get more clients. But we're looking for the right people now, so that when we do move forward, we have the right foundation, we have the right people in place, and everybody's why lines up, because we're very very specific in the things that we want to accomplish. And if we can find like-minded individuals that can actually help the collective and do their part, then sky's the limit for us, all of us.
It sounds like you're saying that, all of your partners in the collective, it doesn't sound like any of their businesses are overlapping, but yet everybody contributes and can help everybody else. If somebody gets stuck in one area, they can talk to somebody else within the collective. And I think that's right. Pretty unique. It's not something that you see out there very much.
Right.
So we had somebody say that we're kind of old fashioned, and that really stuck with me because I hadn't thought of it that way before, that we bring, it's very community based, and it's that old fashioned, Sunday dinner kind of feel when it comes to everybody getting together. And I feel like that has become really our superpower.
Right. Like it takes a village, right? You have your community. That's amazing. Now with that, you both mentioned that you went to a conference. I actually happen to have gone to that conference as well. I'm going to put that right out there. This is how I met Marisa, and how we became very, very fast friends. And through Marisa, I then met Nesto. And I know that this conference was pretty impactful for all of us in similar ways and yet different ways. And through that, have you, other than the conference, did you have any other mentorship or anything else that kind of helped flow into this?
Well, both of us have 15 plus years experience as entrepreneurs prior to starting our business together. I started out 20 years ago in the tech industry. And so this was kind of a coming home for me. I personally was mentored by several men, even into my parents owned their own company. So my father and my mother were always entrepreneurial. And then I was able to sit at dinners with multimillionaires as a teenager, and they invited me along just as if I was one of them and would tell me to learn from them. And so that was kind of my foundation to becoming an entrepreneur. It was very much encouraged always for me. And before the last couple of years, I never even fathomed the idea that people come from families that is not encouraged. That was very strange to me because this was normalized in my family and growing up.
It's very rare, actually.
And I didn't realize that, honestly, until I went back to school and decided to learn more. And I heard the stories from other people hearing that was never allowed. I could never, if I didn't become a doctor, a lawyer, or an accountant, that I was not allowed. And my family, the way I was raised, it was very normal to discuss the idea for a new book at dinner, or had an idea for a creative project. Go for it. Knock yourself out. What can we do to support it? So that was very normalized. But along the way, I've had so many amazing mentors. I had, like I said, 20 years ago, a boss that really made a huge impression on me, that there are several things that I've done in my management style because of what I learned from him. And so along the way, having these mentors was just so crucial to me being an entrepreneur. I know our paths were very different in entrepreneurship, but I can tell you they all gave me courage. Even where there wasn't a playbook or a handbook, it was have the courage to try. Just have the courage to do it. And so I'm very grateful, for the freedom and the continued mentorship. And ultimately, and I know he's going to say this too, but my dad is the ultimate mentor. We are very, very fortunate to have him in our collective as well as our own personal Tony Robbins. But I think he does better than Tony Robbins, but that's just me because he kind of does a good job of making us cry, like real tears.
And I am going to give a shout out to Marissa's dad, who is affectionately called Papa, who is part of the collective, and he will be making his grand debut on here as well. So
we are so proud of him. His new company is just kicking off too. So we're really, really excited that all the years of him giving to others is now something he can put together and use for himself. So it's so cool. But I had so many amazing mentors. I couldn't name one. I just have had several very impactful people in my life that have given me the courage to do what I've done.
Well, and it sounds like what you're building up now and how you were brought up into this business that you're creating is being a mentor to a bunch of other people and giving them the foundation that they may not have had prior.
And I didn't expect that part.
Yeah.
2 years ago, when I decided to go back to, like I said, what I knew and kind of rebuild, I didn't expect the mentor aspect. I really didn't.
Right.
That was a surprise for me.
Yeah, it's something that just kind of
evolved. Yeah, it did.
And because Marissa is an excellent teacher and mentor.
Thank you.
And she's, whoever she's helped, they've loved it. And you can really see the strides that they've taken from just in a matter of just a few months. They're completely different people.
Well, I think it helps. And I know, obviously, I had met you prior to us being in the collective together. But I think it really speaks to the fact that you're both so passionate about what you do and how you come across so authentically to people that when you mention how people have grown, I think that is a huge testament to the both of you and your approach and empathy towards others. So I applaud you for that. And I think that if more entrepreneurs could take that space and give their collective partners or clients that grace, I think that they would see a huge uptick in their progress. And also if there's, and again, because this is through the RivkaLeah Collective, where we work with trauma survivors, when you come through that healing and you know what that grace is that has been given to you to help you on your path, and you want to put that out there for others, I think people will then progress further on whatever path they choose to go down.
Mm-hmm.
And, we've been talking about the structure of our company. Again, that's probably a daily conversation for us, but
Oh, yeah.
he had a little bit of a breakthrough, and Rivka, I can share this with you, that Nesto's background was 15 years as a coach and impacting teenagers, and especially girls, to get through teenage years and to really do well and hit life hard and become more successful. Because a lot of times I've heard the stories where parents would come and ask, if mom and dad can't get the job done, can you step in and kind of have a tough talk with them? Okay. But I've been very privileged to talk to parents that the daughters are now grown and into their own lives, and hear the stories from the parents' viewpoint of what he did for these girls. And it just every time, I love hearing these stories. But we had a realization about a week ago, and we were actually on a call with Papa, and Papa was talking to Nesto about soccer. And we realized how much there's a similarity between a sports team and developing a sports team and a company.
Right.
And so the realization was, as much as I might be on the calls with clients and developing things in a different capacity, that doesn't diminish or downplay the coach's position within our team.
Right.
At all. It's just, we do different things. Mm-hmm. And a lot of times that's not as visible, but that doesn't make it less important. So Nesto's role, even especially more so, because we're refining as we grow as a company,
right.
is individually helping somebody within our team or our collective really step into their own and be coached on the sidelines, and like maybe a little quieter, mm-hmm. But and it's the difference of our styles and complementing each other and being able to help our partners in different ways. Right. So you're going to be seeing more of that. So he likes to talk about my coaching, but I had to get that in there. That don't let it fool you. I'm sorry. He doesn't get to be quiet about this anymore. Sorry.
And I think that shows through, because I know you briefly mentioned your mentor to partnership program. Mm-hmm. And I know I've gone through it, and there was so much value in that. And I think it's very beneficial to a lot of people, even if they don't necessarily want to get to the partnership portion of it, but to go through that and learn a lot of the basics, and have maybe an off the books partnership, in that they would still have their own business, but they would maintain a partnership with you for coaching on the side.
Or through our mentorship program or membership. There's other ways too that people can stay within the crowd in a different capacity as well.
Right. So I think that that's amazing that you offer that. Mm-hmm. Have you found any challenges or anything coming through this? Now, I know you mentioned that you started, Marisa, 2 years ago back onto this path. I forget, Nesto, if you mentioned if it was about the same amount of time or a little less.
It's been about a little bit over a year for me.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
So 2 years ago, I went back to school and then went full-time, retired my first company and retired from it, and then went full-time. And the challenge, I can tell you, is the daily, there are days that you feel like a legal gambler when you're an entrepreneur. Right. There are days where there is no plan and you can't quite figure it out, and you have to get through it. And there are some days where you're just really exhausted, but you got to get back up. It's we call it Mastery in the Middle. That's actually what our podcast is about. And it's so sometimes humbling, I guess is the best word, humbling, that you have to figure it out, and again, there is no handbook. There is no rule book. There's figure it out days. And it is very hard. There is no way around it. It is going to be difficult. And the biggest challenge is your mental space and improving it and continually going and showing up every day. But he knows this, and I know we've spoke about this before, that I visually imagine putting on a backpack every morning as I get out of bed. And there is a heavy boulder, and it's intentionally heavy to represent the weight of each person that I love and that I have accepted the responsibility for in my life. And so I put that backpack on mentally every day, especially the days where I'm a little tired. And that motivates me to keep going.
Right.
So,
yeah. And, some people out there might think, because the things that they see on TikTok and they see these videos where they see entrepreneurs saying, oh yeah, you can.
In a month, you'll make 30,000.
Yeah, you can do 30,000 in 1 month. And so it makes it sound so easy. And it's really not. I mean, and it's very rare that.
Well, and if they do hit that, great. No, not knocking them, but do they have a foundation to actually sustain
right.
2, 3, 4 years from now?
Yeah.
Probably not.
They probably don't. And that's the truth. So that being said, when you understand everything that goes into being an entrepreneur, and working and mastering the middle, where there's a lot of frustration, there's a lot of doubt, there's a lot of imposter syndrome that goes there. What you have to make sure you understand is you have to have the proper mindset to be able to withstand all of those negative thoughts that go through your head just because of the frustration. Because you're going to have several days, sometimes weeks, where nothing seems to go right. And you have to have the mindset to be able to push forward regardless. And it goes back to your why. I mean, why you mentioned at the very beginning what your why was. A lot of times when I'm stuck, I think about why I'm doing this, and then it pulls me back in and it re-energizes me. But if you don't have that why, that thing that makes you, want to push past all of the doubts and the insecurities, and it's very difficult. And it's part of one of the biggest things of becoming a successful entrepreneur is developing the mindset to handle all of the rough times, because there are a lot. Even the best entrepreneurs out there, they'll tell you, yes, it was a struggle, but the journey through that struggle is what made them so great, because they never gave up on what they were doing. A lot of entrepreneurs, they get in there 3, 4, 5, 6 months, and they're not making any money, and forget this. This is too hard. I quit. Right. I mean, 3 to 6 months. I mean, you're not even touching the surface.
You're not even scratching the surface.
Yeah, I mean, there's so much out there to learn. There's AI, there's email marketing campaigns, there's software, all this stuff that you have to learn to be able to fulfill, for your clients, that it's constant learning, and that requires the right mindset, the ability for you to put aside time to work towards your business is very difficult, because
and to discern what not to chase.
That's right.
That's the hard one too.
That's a really good one. Because trust me, there's a lot of stuff out there that says, oh, try this and try that. And you
go down a rabbit hole, and all of a sudden you've lost a whole day.
Well, one of our mentors that's been within the last 2 years that's mentored both of us, he always says, don't chase rabbits.
Yeah.
And if anybody knows him, they'll know exactly who I'm speaking about. Yeah. Once in a while, he'll tell you don't chase chickens, which cracks me up, but don't chase rabbits, right? That's one of the hardest parts.
Yeah.
Because you think, okay, will this make my company stronger? Let's start learning about it. And you're like, nope, hold on. This is actually going off path. Let's not do that right now. And that is something that's really difficult to learn, to discern which is going to push you further and which is going to just take you off track.
Right. One thing that we always talk about too when you master the middle is every one of us hits a wall.
Oh yeah.
And that wall is, it seems like it's 100 feet high, and it's 10-foot stone thick, and you're like, how am I going to get through this? I don't want to say most, but a lot of people, a lot of wannabe entrepreneurs, they'll quit right there. It's just too much for them to handle, right? But the good thing about us is we have this collective, okay? Yep. And we meet once a week, every week. We've been doing it now for over a year. And we talk about these things in our meetings about when you hit those walls, what are you going to do? I mean, what things can you do? And every single one of us in that collective, we all give our input, we all offer our help and assistance, because Marisa and I we've hit countless walls. It seems like we're hitting the wall every other day, at times, but we get through them together, and it's about the mindset, and it's about seeing that end goal and then falling back on your why and the purpose that we're doing this. And it's not just about Marisa and I, it's about our collective. It's about helping one person a day and making a difference in their life, whether it's just a random person out there or it's somebody that needs our help to help build their business or create their business or make their business better than it ever was. So, because we have that collective, we have this support network where we all work together and boost each other up and fill in the gaps and just make sure that everybody's constantly moving forward.
I love that. So you mentioned goals, and I want to touch on that in a bit, but I also wanted to comment, you talked about mindset a lot.
Yes.
And, a lot of entrepreneurs that I have met through my journey in becoming one, they hit that wall. It's the fear of the unknown, and they just don't know how to get up over it. And their mindset lacks a little bit. And so within RivkaLeah Collective, I talk a lot about self-care and pushing that into the mindset portion of it. When you really hit that wall, what can you do? You don't want to just stop and give up because it's hard, but take a step back for an hour and just recenter yourself, reground yourself so that you can get up over that. And I think that is huge. And I think a lot of entrepreneurs that I have met have discounted that because they just want to keep work. And then when they hit that wall, they crumble because they haven't given themselves that space to get their mindset back on track.
That's right. And also with the collective, there's safety in numbers, right?
Yes.
There's a saying out there that says you're an average of the 5 people that you hang out with.
Yep.
Well, when you're in the collective, our group, all of us have very strong mindsets. Otherwise, we couldn't be where we're at now. As we started this and we continued from the beginning, there's lots of times where we were all just kind of stuck, But when you have a collective mindset, rather than being alone by yourself and trying to figure it out on your own, when you have other people around you that are having similar problems and you guys figure out a way to get through it together,
right?
It makes such a difference, and it makes it easier, because like if I'm stuck, I can talk to Marisa, or if you're stuck, you can talk to us, or anybody in the collective if they have a question, or maybe they're learning a new piece of software and they just don't get it. Well, maybe I do.
Yeah, ask around.
And I can set up a training session in one of our weekly meetings and say, okay, we're working on this software. This is what it does. This is how we use it to help us.
Right.
And
this sounds like the old, a lot of people are going to be out there and they're going to say, oh, I've read Napoleon Hill or whatever. It's the mastermind, right?
Right. Exactly.
Your collective is the mastermind. If someone gets stuck, you put something out there and you all, it's a higher mind that all comes together and you can resolve it. So I think that I think people don't necessarily relate the two because they think maybe one might be like new agey woo woo or whatever, but there's really something to say about that when you get a group of like-minded people together.
So we're like-minded, but there's this diversity of ideas as well.
Yes,
absolutely.
And that is a true strength, because it's just, I mean, I might be thinking of something one way and you might be thinking something another way. And then, we put these ideas out and we're like, oh, I didn't even think of that. It's so simple. Thank you.
One thing I have learned though, too, in the last 2 years about myself through this process, when I'm getting stuck, step back.
Yes.
As in, don't force it. The answer will come to me one way or another, and a lot of times completely randomly. And I've told him that. I'm like, I'm not worried about it. And he'll ask me why. Like, why are you not worried about this problem? And I said, the answer will find me. And I have found that sometimes the best thing, we always talk about and joke around in the collective of shower thoughts, or, a lot of times things come to you in the shower, or for me the other day, it was in the middle of the pool. There's been the question I keep asking over and over again about our business and how to attack a certain part. And I keep telling you, I feel like I'm missing still something for me. Like there's a piece of the puzzle, and what am I not seeing yet? And I literally, just by stepping away, going down to the pool, and we literally sat in the pool and had the same conversation. It was a different perspective. It's changed the environment, changed the mood, changed the conversation.
Yep.
So a lot of times it's as simple as literally changing the environment and continuing the conversation. And a lot of times we'll be able to figure out the answer by just moving ourselves, or going for a walk, or I'll cook, or, things like that. And sometimes that simple self-care first, and then the right thought can come through versus all the thoughts.
Exactly. So perfect. Now, two more quick questions. One, well, then they might not be quick. Goals. What are the future goals for your company and your collective?
Well, I can tell you from the business standpoint, last year when we had decided to combine our companies and work together, I had told him I really wanted to be on track to have 6 business partners a year. And he's like, where'd you pull that number from? I'm like, I promise you, I don't know why, but I feel in 2023, we're going to have 6. We're on track. We are literally on track to hit that. We're very, very close to having that number complete. Now, obviously, if we go over it, we'll celebrate even more.
That's right.
But we're really happy about that the goals that we have been setting are attainable, and then we break them down. So a lot of times we'll take our goals and we'll go from 1 year, and then we break it down by quarter, then month, and then by week. And that really helps us. That really, really helps us by doing more of like the 12-week years kind of concept, but our way. That really helps. But, for us, we do have obviously some really big goals when it comes to our business. Our first goal, I'm full-time already, would be for Nesto to retire and to join me full-time. We're on track to do that as soon as possible. But our goals aren't just about the business. It includes our family too, that we pray about it every day, that we want to be able to properly support our parents as they are getting older, as in spend the right amount of quality time with them.
Right.
As all our children get older and are on their own paths now and have their own interests. So we want to be able to support those interests. So yes, we have a lot of business goals, but we also have a lot of personal goals that are just as important to us.
Right. I love that. And so, you just talked about how you break things down, your goals down into your version of the 12-week year. So that kind of plays into my last question for you. What advice would you give people?
Well, let's see. Let's hear some context. Just start out, stuck at the wall. Which way do we want to go? Because
whichever advice that you think people need to hear the most right now, and it can be the same for every area. Get your mindset straight type thing. What advice do you think people need to hear right now, regardless of the area that they're in?
Okay, like for me, I would say you don't have to be perfect. Okay, being an entrepreneur is a journey of ups and downs. Mm-hmm. A lot of people will want everything to happen a certain way and everything's going to be perfect. It's not ever going to be perfect.
No.
And you don't ever have to be perfect. That doesn't mean that you're going to automatically fail. Okay, just because everything's not perfect, that doesn't mean you're going to fail. The biggest thing is, regardless of where you're at in your journey, do not give up. Because the only way that you're going to succeed is if you work through those times when you feel like quitting. I say all the time, I tell Marisa, I was like, the only way that a person will fail is if they quit. But if they keep going, and even when everything seems like it's lost, because that's when we hit the wall, right? We're like, oh, I don't know what else to do. I'm at my wit's end. I'm stuck. Don't give up. Those are the times when you have to push through, and you have to have that resilience. You have to have that mindset, and you just have to have the faith that not just in God or whatever, you have to have faith in yourself and knowing that when we hit those walls, we might think that we're not good enough. We have to understand that every piece of work or everything we do is just the next baby step in the journey. And sometimes you're going to have to step over some hills. It may be a little bit harder, some steps, but as long as you keep going and you don't stop, you're going to be successful. It may take, 6 months. It may take a year and a half. It may take 5 years. As long as you don't give up, you're going to be successful. And, that's really it. So.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
Mine is don't build in an exit plan.
That's right.
That's one of mine that my son a couple of years ago. So I've been a single mom entrepreneur, which is very much of a minority group to be a single mom entrepreneur for 15 years. And my son one time asked me why I never gave up. He said, "You've never quit." And I started laughing. I was standing in my kitchen and I looked at him and I said, "Well, buddy, I didn't build in an exit sign." And when he said that to me, I imagined, being almost like in a fun house. I don't know why. That's where my mind went, is all weird mirrors and all the things you got to go through as an entrepreneur. You can therapy that one later. It's okay. I thought about it. I'm like, there's never an exit sign in those. You just have to find the end.
Yeah.
And that's why that was the visual in my head. Yeah. And I actually posted about that today on LinkedIn, that you can't build in an exit sign. You can't give yourself the out. And I know it's just more of like a mental switch, but I never did. Because anytime I would think I'm really tired, I'm really exhausted, I would think about, well, what are you going to do? Is there something better? Are you going to go out and find this miraculous, amazing career at a desk somewhere that's going to replace all the freedom? No. Are you going to be able to find a job that you could do and then spend this much time with your children? No. Like, I would go through this list and I would go, yeah, no, I cannot quit. So my motto has always been, do not build the exit plan into your business plan from day one.
I love it. I love it. Well, I appreciate both of you coming on here. And my takeaway from all of this, which you both already know, is mindset, mindset, mindset.
Yes.
And, put the support network in around you. Find a collective.
Or create your own.
Or create your own. But feel free, anybody who is listening or watching, you are welcome to reach out to Grit and King or to RivkaLeah Collective. And one or the other of us are more than happy to put you in touch with someone that can help you and assist you along the way. So I hope everybody has a fabulous day. And again, thank you both for being here. And I know I said this to you both individually. I will be calling you back up again because we did put it out there that this is the collective. And I do look forward to having you guys back on here with me again to talk about new and exciting things down the road. So have a wonderful night, everybody. Cheers.